So Homeworld is an RTS series I've been aware of for a long time, but for whatever reason I've just never got around to playing. And it's weird because I like RTS games, and I like RTS games with a lot of story and characterization. But I just never really got into it. I briefly played Homeworld 2 on Game Tap for like half an hour. If anyone remembers Game Tap, that's a shout out to the past. But yeah, I never really got around to it. I'm not sure if that's because I heard that they were really difficult with no difficulty setting, or because they're just really old and they wouldn't run on my computer, or you had the issue with some really old games where the interface is just bad, or there's other just basic things that they put into modern RTSs that make them a lot more playable. But I just never really got into it. I've been on a bit of an RTS binge lately because I played through all the StarCraft 2 campaigns again. And someone on my server said, well, if you haven't played Homeworld before, there's one that came out in 2016, so you shouldn't have any of the problems of the really old ones. So I looked it up and I decided I'm going to try out Homeworld Deserts of Kharak and just see how it is. Now, overall, this is a really good game. Just before we get deeper into the review, I'm going to give my two major criticisms. Firstly, the campaign is very short. It's about 6 to 10 hours long. It depends what difficulty you're playing it on and how conservative or aggressive you're being. I tend to play very conservatively, so it took me a bit longer than that because I was gathering all the resources and trying to get all the upgrades and stuff. But you can probably blow through it pretty quickly if you want to be very aggressive, and if you're better at microing. My other issue is the unit positioning is just not very good. I'm not sure if that's just because I didn't really get onto it. But in like in the Total War series, if you select a bunch of units and hold right-click down, you can see where they're going to be and what direction they're facing in, and you can kind of do a lot to manipulate the lineup, so it's a lot easier than in this game to make sure that they're on top of a ridge. In this game, it doesn't really have that, and with height being such an important gameplay mechanic, I found it really hard to take advantage of that just because of how you move and position units. Because I wanted to have like groups of units, I didn't want to do it individually. So those are my only real two concerns. So if you can get this game on sale, I definitely recommend it. Now, what is the game like itself? It kind of seems to me like a mixture of the gameplay of World in Conflict and the story and atmosphere of Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, which is a very interesting combination, because I love the gameplay of World in Conflict, and I like the story of Strange Journey, but not so much the gameplay, because it was just really long, repetitive, and a grind fest. So, from what I'm able to gather, because I didn't read the background material, I don't like... This is another complaint, maybe this is just me being lazy, but I feel like BioShock spoiled us, in that they decided to do most of the background lore in the form of audio logs that play while you're playing the game, so you don't have to stop the game for prolonged periods of time and read a bunch of text, which I'd rather kind of just be playing the game and have that in the background. Sometimes I'll go look it up on the wiki afterwards, but from what I understand of the game's lore, you have the Northern Coalition, who are kind of the more westernized, recognizable people to us, and they formed in opposition to the Galcian, who are very much an Islamic-inspired nomadic people, but who are also really advanced from scavenging technology from crashed spaceships. So the Northern Coalition has started to explore space, and the Galcian regard that as a breach of their religion. So as a result of that, they've declared war, and they've started to just kind of steamroll the Northern Coalition. Now, it would be nice if we got a couple more details about how the war is going back home while we're out in the desert. But I guess it makes sense to try to reinforce the whole concept that you're entirely alone. So while this war is broken out, you've detected a crashed ship or a extremely powerful artifact in the desert, and the Northern Coalition believes their only chance is to go get this artifact and use its powers and its technology to turn the tide of the war in their favor. To that end, they've built the carrier, the Complisi, and have sent it into the desert to go through Gelsian territory, and they call it the Great Bandit Desert, to try to get to this artifact. And there's another support carrier that's sent, and you periodically run into them. But by and large, you're alone for most of it, in unfamiliar territory, going up against this alien foe you really don't know much about. And this is where it kind of reminds me a lot of Strange Journey in terms of story, as there's a world-ending event that's going on, and you're being sent into this completely mysterious place, not really knowing what's happening, and you have to try to survive the various surprises and twists and turns. And I really like stories like Ad Astra or Apocalypse Now or Annihilation, where they're going into kind of an unexplored, unknown land. And the deeper they get, the more strange things are, the more primitive they get, the more the rules of reality start to break down. And the deeper you go into the desert in this, the further away from civilization you are, the more and more Gelsian you encounter, and the more and more kind of mysteries of these crashed ships and the origins of your people. I do really like the briefings and the cinematics in this, because it really does give the conception or the concept that they're really just, this is all the resources pooled together into this one mission. And periodically outside support will show up, or other things will show up from the outside, but you're more or less completely alone, just trying to scrape things together. Music's really good, voice acting's really good, but I think the atmosphere, I just found it a very intense atmosphere, and I found the gameplay very intense. What's kind of interesting about this is there isn't really a pause button. Like, you can't pause and move your forces like you can in some games, and you can't turn up or turn down the speed, and that's kind of an interesting feature rather than kind of something that's lacking. Because there's parts during the mission where everything's just kind of completely calm and you kind of wish you could speed it up. And then there's other times where just everything's going to shit and you wish you could do it down, but spin it down. But I guess that's kind of part of the point, is you're fighting an enemy that's mostly based on hidden run tactics, who knows the desert better than you and can show up any time. So the actual gameplay is you have the Complisi, which is your base more or less, which is an aircraft carrier that is on tracks or wheels or whatever and goes around the map, and you can build units from it, and you get resources by scavenging. The thing is, to scavenge you have to use these really slow units with no armor and no health called scavengers and support cruisers. The Complisi is really slow, so if you want to get scavenging done in any kind of efficient way, you have to send them out without any, send them out on their own, preferably with a military escort. And so there's an interesting risk-reward system in that the game allows you, if you want to go and mine like 3 or 4 sites at once, there's nothing preventing you. But you have to like get lucky or be good at managing your forces, or else you're going to get ambushed at one of the spots. All your production units are going to get wiped out, and you have to go back and do it over again. So I do find that interesting, and I did miscalculate a couple times throughout the campaign. I normally only try to do 2 or 3 at a time. The thing I really put most of my resources into is aircraft. Because your carrier, in addition to making cruisers and tanks and stuff, can also make aircraft, fighters, or precision strike fighters, bombers, and gunships. And because they move so fast and have relatively high damage output, they're quite useful in order to control the battlefield. Like, if you're getting attacked from a location where you don't really have any forces blocking it, or if your resource correctors are getting attacked or something, it is really cool to be able to call in your air support. At the same time, they're expensive to build, and in some missions you wind up having to use them to save yourself, but a bunch of them get blown up and you have to rebuild them. Still, if you're at all cautious with your resource consumption, particularly by the last couple missions, you'll just be swimming in resources, and you don't even have to be as cautious as you maybe initially were. So I like that aspect of it. The overmap is really cool. How it says like there's enemies here, but you don't know who the enemies are exactly. Um, I found myself, and this is just kind of the way I am whenever I play a game, only using certain unit classes. Some stuff like light assault, I just found did too little damage and died too quickly to really be much of a use. I know once I eventually got cruisers, I just switched over to using cruisers, mainly artillery cruisers. At least on normal, the Complisi itself is just an unstoppable killing machine, and it can basically solo a lot of the missions more or less by itself. All it really needs is a couple of repair units, and it just kind of barrels through everything in its path. And I think maybe only once it got destroyed, and that was when I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I think it was in like the second or third mission. But I did really enjoy the gameplay, the story, the atmosphere. The only problem I'm going to say that there is with it is just that it is very short. And I feel like even if they had made it 50% longer, they could have maybe put some more weird stuff in the desert and kind of developed some of the lore within the game. I know they sent out like a bunch of other extra stuff with it, but I kind of view that as being secondary to what's in the game itself. So overall, good game. I'd recommend if you're going to get it on sale. I think the Homeworld series goes on sale a lot, and this is definitely, I think, something worth playing and worth picking up. So more reviews to come. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you guys again real soon.